Hey, it's Bill with Port City Living. I want to take some time and talk to you about a very important aspect of the home buying process here in North Carolina, and that's called due diligence. Now, you may have heard me talk about this term already, but I want to make sure that you understand it, what it's all about, and how it can benefit you as a buyer. So what exactly is due diligence? Well, it's a period of time after you, the buyer, makes an offer to a seller and the contract is executed or signed by both parties. It's essentially a window for you to do all of your investigations to make sure that you're making a good decision and a good investment. So what are some of the things that will happen during due diligence? Well, one, we want to get the property inspected. We'll hire an inspector to go through, check all the components of the property, make sure everything is in tip-top shape and in working order. This will be a good time for you to investigate the neighborhood, make sure you understand the amenities and make sure it works with your lifestyle, and make sure you're going to love the part of town that you're buying in. That's very important. You want to look at all the documentation that you can get your hands on. If you're thinking about buying in a condo or townhome community, make sure you're looking at those bylaws, that you understand the do's and don'ts of what you can and can't do, because they're all so very, very different. Make sure that the seller is giving you all the disclosures that are available and that you're getting all your questions answered. You might want to think about getting a survey. If you're buying in a regular tract of land and you don't know where your boundaries are, I highly recommend that you do that. Now, in North Carolina, it's customary for the buyer, that would be you, to compensate the seller for taking their house off the market. It's sort of a thank you, Mr. Seller, for taking your house off the market while I get my ducks in a row. It's called a due diligence fee. Now, before I go any further, I want to make sure that we understand that due diligence fee and earnest money are two completely different things. To hear me discuss earnest money, click on this video right up here. Now, when we put your offer together, we're going to talk about what this due diligence fee looks like, and it can be many different things. And that's something that as we get into the bones of your offer, we will discuss in more depth. But when we put this offer together and it gets accepted and executed, you're going to write this due diligence fee check directly to the seller, and that's theirs to keep. Now, here's the crucial part, and the part I really need you to understand. You, the buyer, have the right to terminate this contract during due diligence for any reason at all. If you completely change your mind, you can do that. But just know that you will lose that due diligence fee. It is the seller's to keep. Let me repeat that. You, the buyer, have the right to terminate the contract during due diligence for any reason at all, but you will lose that due diligence fee. It's the seller's to keep. Now, of course, if we go to closing as planned, you'll just get credited for that at the end. Of course, the due diligence period can be a little bit more tedious than what I'm talking about here, but this is a good overview of how this works and what will happen. The due diligence period is a good thing for you, the buyer. It helps give you the opportunity to investigate, to make sure you're making a good decision and a good investment. If you have any other questions about due diligence, just feel free to reach out. I'm Bill Corbett with Port City Living. Thanks for listening.